I did. Well.
Hi there and welcome. Later, Gandhi's glasses are sold and a sticky mess for an English politician. But first, lots of children suffer from a condition called asthma. It affects your breathing, but it can be very well managed with the right drugs and inhalers. Doctors involved in a new research project at a Dublin hospital are hoping to go a step further. They're trying to find a cure.
Over 470,000 people have asthma. In a major development today, an Irish research team was awarded €600,000 to help find better treatments and a cure for the condition. The Connolly Hospital team in Dublin hopes to identify the genes in the environment which cause asthma.
We see many patients here, and we have the capacity in our new department to define exactly what kind of asthma the patient has, because, as you know, there are many different causes of asthma.
Here at this facility at Connolly Hospital, tissue samples from patients will be stored. Doctors are hoping to identify rogue cells in the lungs that cause asthma and then develop new treatments and perhaps a cure.
Asthma affects almost 500,000 people in Ireland, and Ireland has the fourth highest prevalence of asthma worldwide.
There are 5,500 admissions each year to hospital due to asthma complications.
Bookworms around the world have been celebrating World Book Day, and young readers have been getting in on the action here. Aisling went to easons on Dublin's O'Connell Street to find out more.
Now, what do all these children have in common? They're dressed up as characters from their favourite books. To mark World Book Day, boys and girls from 3 primary schools gathered in easons on O'Connell Street. They were there to hear the reading of the first ever World Book Day children's book, published in both Irish and English. Alfie Green and the Monkey Puzzler by Joe O'Brien, coupled with Daphne Dinosaur by Anya Niglin.
I thought it was very good.
Why?
Because it was very interesting. It's mind-blowing.
Then it was time for the pupils from Central Model School in Marlborough Street to buy some books with the coupons children from all over the country were given. There were lots of events going on throughout the day, and the pupils from Griffeen Valley Educate Together in Lucan got a trip on the World Book Day vintage book bus.
Now it's time to get on the bus for more fun and games. OK, now tell me who you're dressed up as.
Horrid Henry.
And yourself?
Captain Hook.
And tell me what you think of World Book Day.
World Book Day looks very good. It's very good because, like, you get to read different books, and my favourite book is Alfie Green. And if say I didn't really read all the Alfie Green books, so you could get another chance to read it.
I'm Adolphus T. Madison from The Amazing Story of Adolphus Tips.
My character's name is Alfie Green. My book character is called Jack Stalwart. He's an agent. I'm just a bit Matilda from Rodell. My book character is Judy Moody, and it's almost my favourite book. It's really funny.
Great costumes there. Now, to end a fantastic day, there was a children's tea party on at Children's Book Ireland with famous authors and the super Don Conroy giving the pupils some tips.
British politician Peter Mandelson had green custard thrown over him today. It was thrown by a woman protesting about plans to build a third runway at Heathrow Airport in London.
As the British Business Secretary Peter Mandelson arrived at the launch of the Low Carbon Summit, the protester was waiting for him. The 29-year-old charity worker, who was part of a group protesting against the development of a third runway at Heathrow Airport, said she had informed Lord Mandelson that the substance she was about to throw on him was custard. She said direct action was a last resort.
It was a grave decision that I had to take to highlight this, but we cannot have people like Peter Mandelson standing by and being applauded for his actions on climate change when he's agreed to the third runway and bullied others into that.
Lord Mandelson described the incident as adolescent, but said he didn't want people to overreact.
You know, I suppose in a democracy people are entitled to have their say, but I rather obviously that people said it to my face than throw it in my face.
The British government last month approved the new runway at Heathrow, despite opposition by MPs, local residents and Green campaigners.
Next, some other stories in the news today.
Gandhi's glasses and the man who bought them. The businessman, who's from India, paid $1.8 million for the glasses and Gandhi's pocket watch, leather sandals and a plate and bowl, which were auctioned in New York last night, despite protests from India. The new owner plans to return Gandhi's possessions to his home country. Hundreds of workers from SR Technics, the aircraft maintenance company, have been protesting outside the Swiss embassy in Dublin today. The Swiss-based company is closing down its operations at Dublin Airport, and these workers, who are now facing the dole, say SR Technics hasn't set enough money aside for the redundancy payments. 4 people were rescued after high winds broke the gangway to this cruise liner, which was docked at Palma on the Spanish island of Majorca. Winds of up to 110 kilometres an hour were blowing at the time. 4 passengers ended up in the water, but crew members helped them to safety.
It's National Tree Week this week, and I've been taking a look at some of the trees we have in Ireland and some of the stories behind them. At the end of the Ice Age, Ireland was attached to mainland Europe, allowing plants to spread here. But eventually Ireland was cut off, and because of this we have just 28 species of native trees, which is a very small number compared to the rest of Europe. At the beginning of the last century, only 1% of the land here was under forests, so we had to plant new ones. This led to 2 different types of trees, native trees and introduced trees. Native trees such as ash and oak moved here naturally. Others like beech, sycamore and chestnut were planted centuries ago. People have always attached meanings to different types of trees, including the Celts. The Celts gave trees particular personalities, and this fella behind me is the alder tree. He was seen as the tree of fire, and in the battle of all trees he was at the very, very front. The birch was one of the earliest forest trees, and across Europe its twigs were used to warn off evil spirits. I caught up with some young people on a tree safari in Merrion Square in the heart of Dublin this week.
We saw like heather trees and alpine trees and alders.
Loads of yew trees and alder trees and loads of really, really old trees that you'd be surprised to find out how old they are.
The amount of trees in one park was like unbelievable. I didn't know there was that many trees.
I decided to find out more too.
So this tree here is the cedar tree, and it actually has these really unusual catkins and corons. So some of the catkins are female and the other ones are male, so it's actually able to self-reproduce.
Without trees, life on Earth would be impossible, so it's important that we look after them. Let's check on the weather now. It's over to Gina.
Thanks, Stephen. Well, it's going to be dry at first tonight, but then there's going to be rain spreading eastwards across the country later on. And tomorrow then it's going to be cloudy with outbreaks of rain, but it'll be a mild and breezy Saturday. Now back to you, Stephen.
Before we go, all the best to everyone at St Peter and Paul National School in Drumcondrath, who are celebrating the school's 40th anniversary today. They even had a visit from the President this morning. Well, that's it. News Today Weekly is on Sunday at 12:10 here on 2. In the meantime, have a great weekend.
Everybody was kung fu fighting.
Sean,